Hey everyone, it's Kate, and today I'm going to show you how to make these three really fun pot holders out of the quilting cottons included in our Winter 2020 Swatch Service card. If you don't know about our Swatch service, I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, but we are filming on Facebook Live and we will upload this video to YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube and you like it, hit the like button, and if you want to learn more about sewing and quilting, you can subscribe to our channel. I'll include all of the instructions that I'm saying in this video in our description below on YouTube. So what is our Swatch service? Every quarter, we send out between 1 and 3 swatch cards to you, and each card has 8 different fabrics. We have one for garment fabrics in cool tones, one for garment fabrics in warm tones, and then we also have a quilting cotton one, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So you can see that you get 8 different fabrics, and we have little pieces of info below each fabric. And they all also are accompanied by a video. Plus, the quilting cotton one is accompanied by a project video like this one. So today we're sending out the Winter 2020 swatch cards, but if you'd like to subscribe for the future, you can go to theconfidentstitch.com and search for Swatch and subscribe, because it's really, really fun. And it's a great way for us to connect with you, even if you can't come in the store. So to make the 3 pot holders, you're going to want a fat quarter bundle of the fabrics in this year's or this winter's swatch service. And I got the patterns from this book. It's called A Year of Pot Holders 2. It's a great book. It has 52 really great pot holder recipes. See, I said this when I was practicing instructions, but I have Tuckerized the instructions for you for these 3. So even though these all look really different, they all use the same basic shapes. They've got flying geese, half square triangles, and square in a square. I love how you can use the same shapes but different colors and move them around to make really different looking quilts. So I'm going to show you quick and dirty today how this way. Okay, there we go. Quick and dirty, I'm going to show you how to make half square triangles, a flying goose, and a square in a square unit. I have made videos, in-depth videos of how to make all these units. So I will include links to those in the YouTube version of this. So to make these units, you're going to need 3 different Tucker rulers, and I love Tucker rulers, as you might already know. So to make the half square triangle, you'll need a Tucker trimmer. And to make the flying geese, you'll need a wing clipper. And then to make the square squared, you'll need the square squared Tucker ruler. And you'll see why in a second. So let's start out with our half square triangles. Each of the rulers has great instructions, but to make 2.5-inch half square triangles, because that's the size we want, our pot holders are going to end up being 8.5 inches. You want to take your 2 fabrics, put them right sides together, and these are 3-inch squares that I'm starting with. And then you're going to take your quilter's magic wand that has a laser line right through the center. You line up the laser line with the 2 diagonal corners, and then with a pencil or a fabric marker, you're going to draw the 2 lines and then sew along the lines and then just cut in between them. I think more organized and precise people than me like to cut with a rotary cutter, but I don't really care what my seams look like. So I just cut them with scissors. And then you'll press your units toward the darker fabric. I decided that the yellow was darker today. And so you can see it still has its little tags and it's a little bit wonky, but the Tucker trimmer makes trimming your half square triangles perfectly so easy. So there's a diagonal line here and there's a little half circle because I'm doing a 2.5 inch half square triangle. If I was doing a whole number, I would use the whole circle. So here I am. I'm going to line up the diagonal. I'm going to make sure that these 2.5 inch dotted lines are actually on the fabric. And then I'm going to trim. Hopefully, gosh, I'm at a really weird angle. I'm going to stand up, but you guys can't even tell. There we go. Trim and trim, hopefully. Oh my gosh. There we go. Then I'm going to rotate. So Deb Tucker's rulers are called Studio 180 designs because she has you rotate your unit 180 degrees to trim the other 2 sides. So I rotated and I can hear that I am not cutting. Oh, I did. Phew. There we go. So I just trimmed a tiny bit off and now my unit is exactly 2.5 inches and the diagonals are going into the corners. So to make this pot holder, which is called Connecticut, you're going to make 4 half square triangles. All right, the next unit is the flying goose unit. So that's this unit. And you're going to need 4 of them for the Connecticut one and 8. This one's called Dutchman's Puzzle and it has 8 flying geese. And then the Crystal Star has another 4. And you can see that just by repositioning the flying geese, this looks more like a star and it's really fun. So to make flying geese the Deb Tucker way, I'm going to warm up my iron here. There we go. So is this in a good spot? Okay. You're going to cut a 5.5 inch square of the fabric that you want for your larger triangles, the center triangles in the flying goose. And then 4 3-inch squares for the smaller triangles. And once again, and you're going to put your 3-inch squares in opposite corners, and hopefully you can see that there's about a 1/16 of an inch. I'm in from the corner about a 1/16 of an inch. And then once again, you're going to grab your Quilter's Magic Wand and draw better than it looks like I did a little. I went a little askew, but you're going to draw and then sew along the diagonal. And then once again, you're going to cut in between. This is a really fun method of making flying geese. So you cut in between and then you'll press it like this. And I have one already pressed. So I have pressed this one, and then I put another 3-inch square on this blank corner, about a 1/16 of an inch in. And once again, grab my quilter's magic wand and draw 2 lines, sew along the lines, and then, oh, this is so magical, because now, there we go, I have 2 flying geese, and you, with the other half, you're going to make your other 2, so you're going to have 4. I'm going to do a really quick press here, and this is a Martelli mat, and you can actually do light pressing on the mat without melting it. Yay. So there is my flying goose. And now for the magic of the Tucker method, we're going to trim it. So you can see that it is a flying goose, but it's a little bit wonky. Nothing is quite straight. So to trim it, I'm going to put it in the valley position, so it looks like a V. And the wing clipper tool has just the markings that you need. So I am making a 4.5 by 2.5 inch flying goose, and I have my 2 diagonals are marked on the ruler. And now I'm going to semi-stand up and try to cut. Someday we will have a super great setup. But right now, I'm making do. So now I'm going to have my 4.5 and 2.5 on the edges, and then you can see there's a nice X there, so I know that that is the mountain is in the right place. So start with the valley, then do the mountain. Do this one more time. Ugh, I didn't quite get it. Here we go. Do not do this at home. I never in real life saw my units, but if I had a better angle, that little triangle would be gone, and this would be a perfect 4.5 by 2.5 inch flying goose. All right, and once again, I do have better videos of all of these units, and I will include links in the YouTube version. So finally, we're going to do the square squared, and that looks like this. That's this unit, and it is a notoriously difficult unit to make, even though it looks simple, but because you want the diagonal of the square to be 4 inches. And that means that the size of the square is some weird number, because remember the hypotenuse and all that geometry and the a squared plus b squared, the square root. And so you're going to come up with some weird number. And Deb Tucker of Tucker Studio of Studio 180 Designs has done the math for you, which I just love. So to make the center square, she has you start with a 3.5 inch strip. I'm actually going to flip it. This one looks a little uneven. You start with a 3.5 inch strip, and on the ruler, you're going to line up for the center block. You're going to line up your ruler, and it says cut from 3.5 inch strip for a 4 inch finished block. And I'm going to cut up here, hopefully. And so you can see that it's some weird, it's less, you know, it's more than 3 and less than 3 1/4. It's really a weird amount, but this square is going to have a 4-inch diagonal, which is exactly what you want. The ruler also tells you how big of side triangles to make. Let's see if you can. So for a 4-inch, you're going to want 3 1/4 inch. This way?
It's tilted, it's catching the light.
Oh. Anyway, it's 3 1/4, believe me, even though you can't see it. So you're going to cut 3 1/4 inch squares like so, and then cut them on the diagonal. And then you're going to take your first 2 squares and sew them to, not squares, first 2 triangles, and sew them right sides together to your center square. And pro tip, you're going to use this longer edge, the edge that you cut on the diagonal, to sew to the square. The first time I did it, I actually sewed them like this, and it actually fits, but you want the edge of the triangle to be quite a bit bigger than the edge of the square. And you don't have to over worry about it being right in the center. Deb Tucker has created enough wiggle room that you can just eyeball it and make sure that it's good. And you do want to sew from the square side, because you can just see a little better that you're on at the 1/4 inch, and also just see what you're doing a little better. So after you sew the first 2, you're going to place the second 2 right sides together. Oops, look at that. Right sides together, and then flip it and sew along the other 2 edges of the square. And voila, you will have this rather funky looking square in a square, but never fear. The other end of your ruler has exactly how to trim. So so my finished unit after I sew it in is going to be 4 inches. So there's an X. I've got these X's with a 4 on them at right where the triangles of my square, or the corners of my square, meet the triangles. So I'm going to trim one side, trim the other side. Let's see if I got this. Oh, almost. Trim. There we go. Now I'm going to rotate my unit 180 degrees. And once again, line up my 4s. Oops, sorry, bumped my camera. And it's just hard to get the where the corners are with a bad angle. Dang nabbit. Okay, we're just going to pretend that it's perfect. So you can see that if this, here, I'm going to put it to the side here. Then I can do it. So there. You can see that we now have a perfect square in a square. There's a 1/4 inch at each of these corners, so that when you sew it into the unit, the the corners will be right where they're supposed to be. All right, and then there's one more little tricky bit for making pot holders, and I feel like this bit is worth its weight in gold, makes this book worth its weight in gold. So when you're binding the pot holder, you don't want to bind it exactly like you do a quilt, because you want to have this little hook on the end. So I just made a regular binding. The binding is 2.5 inches wide, or whatever width you like your binding to be. And I started it just a little bit above the first edge and sewed around 3 of the edges, did my mitered corners, and I have it loose for the 4th edge. So first I'm going to just trim the beginning nice and flush with the top edge. And then before you sew the 4th edge, you're going to want to wonder clip the first edge in place as though you have sewn it to the back. So as though you've done that. And then you're going to miter the 4th edge and sew it on, and stop at the edge of the pot holder. And then I'm going to show you how you make the loop. So let's continue to, oh, here, I'm going to grab this lower wonder clip. Oh, here's my 3rd one. I knew I had a 3rd one. Okay, there's a wonder clip. So let's pretend that you've sewn this down and you've sewn the final edge down. And then you're going to be able to kind of fold the rest of the binding in thirds so there aren't any raw edges showing, and you'll press it and top stitch it, and then just fold it back here and zigzag it down, and you'll have a nice little loop. Okay, I'm going to bring it up. Just a minute. I got to hold it. Let's see. Okay, so you're going to top stitch this tail in place and then fold it back onto the pot holder and zigzag it. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done. So there, back. Okay, so you see that that's been top stitched. It goes around, and then you just fold it in on itself and zigzag it in place, and you have a nice little loop. All right, back. All right, so that is how you make these pot holders. I know that was really quick and dirty, but I will include links to how I make all those shapes in longer, more in-depth and helpful videos. And today is December 8th, the day that we are filming live. And it's the first day of our 12 makes of Christmas. So for the next 12 days until December 19th, we are going to feature a really simple project for you that you can make before Christmas. We promise. And today's project, just a moment. Today's project is an ombre table runner that I love. This is one side of it, and then the other side is blue. So depending on your mood, depending on your decor, you can use either one. You can order a kit to make the table runner. You get a book by Jennifer Sampu called 6 Colorful Ombre Projects. You get a half-yard cut bundle of Jennifer's ombre fabrics, and you get the batting. And I actually used the batting, the thermal batting, so that, which I forgot to mention, you also put inside these pot holders. The thermal batting so that you can use it in the middle of your table and put hot things on it. So I've written a blog post on how to make the table runner, and tomorrow I'm going to make another video. I'll be here at noon again, Mountain Time, and I'm going to make a Lotta Jonsdottir pom-pom scarf and show you how to miter really acute angles. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow at noon. Bye for now.